Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Thanks for joining me. You're almost to the weekend. You're getting there. We're really close. Let me see if anyone's jumping on to chat with us. Good morning. Hello. Whitney set it up so nice for me. I can see your comments without my glasses. So good morning, Rachel. Good morning to all the crafty friends that are joining us. And of course, I know Whitney's with us. And Kimberly, good morning. Wow, I really like that. I can read all your comments. They put it on a really big TV screen for my old eyes. But I like it. Good morning, Debbie. Good morning, all the crafty friends that are joining us. I hope you joined Taylor on Tuesday and saw our kits, being it is the end of August. Can you believe it? We're rolling into September next. So are you ready? Are you ready for September? I know I'm not. I still think in my head we're in July, but the month has flown by. So it was kit release on Tuesday, and it was our dogs and cats kits. They are so cute. Let me see if I can grab the dogs and the cats. They've been very popular. I guess dogs are a little more popular than cats, which kind of actually surprises me. So I don't know why. We don't have a pet in our house, at my house. So I like both if I can be around them. So I just don't want, I barely get out the door on my own, much less having more things to take care of. So I enjoy other people's animals. I always say it's kind of like having grandkids or kids in general, that you get to send them home. I like enjoying other people's pets. So good morning. Let's see, we've got Vicki and Heather and Jill. Good morning. And in Ohio from a couple of you. Thank you. So there's another video that hit. So if you joined Taylor on Tuesday, there's another video from Terry that went up today, and she's covering both the dogs and cats. I know Mindy had one. I believe it went live on Tuesday. I already watched that one too. That was cute. So if you guys just want more inspiration, or there's always tips and tricks to pick up. So I think every video, even if it isn't your style, is worth watching. So good morning, Dawn. And another Susan, welcome. Yeah, and then I do have tea to spill at the end. But I want to remind you all, again, the kit is there, and I know you can get the whole bundle, and those stickers are stinking cute that are in the kit, or you can buy them separately. But don't forget that today is the last day for Rainbow Royalty and Superfans to get their double points on any of your purchases. So remember today, make sure you know what Central Time is. That's what we're in. Otherwise, just get it done by 9 o'clock tonight. You don't have to worry about if you're on Central or not Central or what you're at. So, and then on Saturday, don't forget to join Taylor and Whitney. They're going to go over all of the release for Tuesday, and it's really great. I am very excited about it. I already have a plan of what I'm going to purchase because I've seen it all. I'm very excited. I love hearing from you guys what you want to see, and a lot of times I'm like, oh yeah, I hadn't thought to ask for that. That's a great idea. So join Taylor and Whitney on Saturday for that, but I do have tea to spill at the end, and maybe some of you can like think up and surmise like where we're headed from my couple of sneak peeks I have for you. They happen to be the cards that I made. But today we're gonna make, and if you've seen it on the email or online, I'm gonna talk about the dogs, but this could easily be swapped to the cats, whichever is your jam. So let's get going. Swap you down to my little card here. I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna put up first just to kind of get it out of the way so I don't forget some of my colors that I used. So and I'm not probably gonna go in layer order with this, but the Tiki Mule and the Royal Icing, so Royal Icing plus a little bit of Tiki Mule to add. Then we have Pineapple and Honey for another one of the layers, and Latte and Cinnamon for another layer of the dog. I do add in Mocha, I'll just take this off to the side, for the actual details of the dogs, but I don't have them on any part of the dog. But the Mocha I do use also. But that is the colors for my layers. Let me see if I can, I don't think I'll be able to figure it out. I'll try to remind you as we go along here. So let me get my colors out of the way, and we will get our Misty brought in, and then in the dog kit, You are getting the dog sentiments, obviously, but you also get the dogs, the little details of the dogs, and the cutting plate to go with it. So we'll go ahead and get this set up in my MISTI, and this is what I am stamping with that mocha. Let me grab my paper. I must have set my paper aside already. Hit it. There it is. Maybe. I have my card base. I don't want to stamp on that, so here we go. Do that. I always like to put a little temporary just to keep my cardstock in place. So this is our little details of the dogs. Set that up in my MISTI. I have the black cushion that you need for clear stamps out of my MISTI just to give this background of our red rubber stamps. That's why you take that black mat out, is for that little bit of extra height. But our red rubber stamps so well that I love it. So we'll go ahead and press that down. Again, that's mocha. You could easily use black or a gray, whatever you'd like. I'm really loving mocha. It's just a true brown. I use it quite a bit. I use it in sentiment sometimes. I just used it on the sneak peek card that I'm going to show you on my sentiment. I love mocha. I think it's a great alternative to using Oreo. Oh, I love that they shared the colors with you guys. And more good mornings from everyone. Thanks for joining us. So that gives us all of our little details for our cats and dogs. And that's all I needed the mocha for on that one. I'm going to put a little bit of tape on the back, which I already had some, I guess, from the MISTI. I wouldn't have needed it. But that gets our dogs all ready to go. That is stamped on our sugar cube. And normally I like to put my stencils in order. I wish I had done that for you all first. Let me get my glasses on. So down in the bottom right-hand corner, make sure you always have your etchings right side up. So that's layer 3, 2, and here's our layer 1. And I boo-booed. I should have stamped that on 6x6, which I normally do, but I can see all my pieces because that would give me, and you know what, Whitney, I'm gonna have to redo that.
Yeah?
Can I have a 6x6
Yes.
sugar cube? I knew I was doing that wrong. Let me go back and do that again. Hold, please.
Ta-da!
Yeah, there's
With
not.
the magic
Of Whitney.
Ta-da!
Sorry, I need those little guidelines. Were you all? Nope, I don't see any comments. No one was like yelling at me just yet to say, you need that, because I need it for the little markings. Not so much for the stencil, you can tell, but definitely for the cutting plate. And I could have gotten away with it, but I would rather do it the right way. All of a sudden I realized I had forgot my 6x6 paper and thought I could improvise. So let's just do it right. How about that? So again, mocha. What was that? A minute. Thanks to Whitney grabbing me some paper. Thank you, thank you. We are back to where we were. Let's try that again. You could totally get away with it, but I'd rather have it be perfect and use those little alignment squares. That is helpful. So I do already have my stencils in a row, being that I accomplished before. We'll get some of our teal tape ready, and we will start with our layer number 1, which happens to be my browns, I can tell. So it's latte and just a little bit of cinnamon. It's mainly latte. So I think if you're good at getting maybe a heavy hand down, you could just get away with latte, but I did use just a little bit of cinnamon just to give them a little bit of depth and dimension. I know, yes, Lisa, I make lots of mistakes. I didn't do it the first time. I think I was trying to like save paper by not grabbing it this morning. So let's start with our latte. Again, I love this glass buddy thing. Even at home, it's my favorite thing. I told everyone, and I did it a couple of months ago, I bought the big glass board. I had the small one, which I still use if I take my projects like down to my kitchen area out of my stamp room. But once we got this, I was like, I have to have that. And now I'm going to get the big glass board. I had motivation. I was trying at the first of the year, trying to get my stamp room in line and cleaned up. And part of my motivation was when I got it cleaned up, if this fit where I wanted it to on my standing desk, I was going to buy it. And I did. And I absolutely love it. And I do really love having a standing desk. At work here at the studio, we stand quite a bit when we craft. And I thought, I wonder if I would like that at home. So I have, many of you know, I have a bad hip, and it's going to be that way forever. So it actually is happier when I stand. So I've been doing all my crafting at home for the most part standing. So I like it. And I love having this glassboard buddy. Keeps my ink pads from having to chase them around. I like that it's one too, because I know you guys I've shared this with you guys before. I have a rule, only one ink pad open at a time. And that's just because I have made mistakes and gone with like a yellow brush into a purple ink pad, and then I was sad. So, all right, that first color on layer 1 here was my latte. And I'm just taking the cinnamon with a smaller brush because the latte I applied with one of our bigger original brushes. I'm using it just in the corners here, just to give them a little dimension to one part of every dog. Like these, I'm going to get the bottoms a little bit. This guy, I'm going to get the bottom. This guy might get close. I love this little happy dog. Makes me want to sing that happy dog song because he just looks so happy with these flopping ears. Kind of give a little dimension and makes them look a little less flat. Because most animals have a little more color here or there to them. So there we go. That is our cinnamon. So latte and cinnamon was my layer 1. Get this peeled up. I will clean a little bit off of here, kind of around here before I pick up my stencil. All right, just to get this out of the way. Then we'll grab our stencil layer number 2. I think Taylor and I were on the same wavelength. I know she did dogs on Tuesday too. I don't know that we planned it that way. I don't know why. I don't have a preference one way or the other. I just happen to do the dogs. I do really, and I'm not using him, but this one right here, that one that's hopping with the floppy ears, so cute. Probably my 2 favorite dogs I'm not even using in my card, but you could always put them like in the middle with your sentiment. It would be really cute. So here's our next layer. This is going to be our yellows, and this is layer 2, so it's going to be pineapple with a little bit of honey. Honey is a color that I mainly use when I'm blending. I use the cardstock. It's just a lot stronger, but if with a light hand, I can get a really pretty color with honey. I feel that way about Dijon too. So depending, especially with fall coming, that's a really pretty color, Dijon and honey, to have like for leaves and that kind of stuff. The brown matches your nail polish. It's kind of a dusty purpley color. As you guys know, I've said before, I do my own nails and I only have like 3 colors just because gel polish is expensive. And because I'm doing it on my own, and I only have 2 that I really like. There's a 3rd one I have. I just don't use it very much. It's not my favorite. But this is my favorite, obviously. So that's just a little bit of pineapple with the bigger brush. And then here at the studio, we got new brushes, and it's just like Christmas Day again. I just think that you can keep your brushes for a long time, but it's kind of like getting like a new cake pan or a new cutting board in your kitchen. Is that totally lame of me to say that? It's just kind of nice to have something new every once in a while. Just to have it all be perfect again. So again, this honey is strong. It's a very pigmented color if you go. So just think very light and do a lot of tapping off. And then I'm just going to go on the base of these dogs. just to give them some shadow towards the bottom. Oh, Beth, do you have the smaller glass board? I still use mine, but that's what I had for a long time. It was kind of, I saved up, and it was kind of a treat, motivation to get my stamp room all in order, because it had kind of been in the same spot for at least 17 years. I hadn't really moved anything around and just kind of rethought everything. Like, does my die cut machine need to be where I have it, or can I move it over here? And kind of like I went to a standing desk. It's not one of those fancy ones that goes up and down. I just made one that's stable. Just took the desk that I had and put another layer kind of on top of it. So, worked for me. Again, I'm just hitting some slight areas, and I can always peek, being as I have mine. Yeah, I think this is the perfect size. It was actually the perfect size for me with my standing desk. It almost didn't fit. It hangs off, like, I have it hang off at the top part of my glass board. It hangs off maybe 1/4 of an inch, but it doesn't hurt anything. So it's a smidgy too long for me, but I love it. And even when I use my mini, though, I still take my glass board buddy with me. I find I put it vertical to my board, and I don't have any problems. It stays out of my way. I still have plenty of room for ink blending 6x6s. I can't do that if I have an 8.5 by 11, but yeah, I do like having both. Because I will go downstairs if we're watching something on the TV. I can take it down to the table to watch. So that was our layer 2. And let's clean this up again so I don't pick up any more. And we will move on to layer 3, which I get to use some of our new colors that I think are very fun. Tiki Mule and Royal Icing. So you can see through the stencil to line those up if you happen to be in a pickle and all you have is an A2 size panel you're working with. I would have been fine, but I'd rather show you the way we actually intended it to work, which is very nice. So let's move on. That was our yellow layer. We will move on to our Tiki Mule and Royal Icing. Start with the Royal Icing though. I'm going to clean this up just a smidge better because I don't want green if I happen to put my brush down there. All right. Get a little Royal Icing going. I'm going to grab a scratch piece of paper just because I want to see if I'm, yep. We use our brushes in families, so I wanted to make sure I was just getting Royal Icing going here. Royal Icing can have a little gray hint to it, so just be sure that your stencil that you're using is really clean from whatever you used it with last time. I say that, that's why I say that, is just because, like, if you had maybe like a yellow that you used on layer 3 and just had a little bit kind of in nooks and crannies on your stencil, you'll obviously reactivate it and combine your colors. So this, with this Royal Icing, just make sure that's really clean, and I wanted to see that I wasn't picking up any other teals out of the brushes. The brush that I have here seemed good. This looks like I am good on both. Thoughts here on this one. So this one I'm moving on to my Tiki Mule. Again, going to go in very light-handed and just to the bottom of these dogs. This one I'm going to try again. This one's, I got a little more blue in this brush. That'll help me. Just kind of getting the bottom, the feet, the lower part of the tail of these cute dogs. Again, if you're new to ink blending, I use a circular motion when I come in, and if I have bigger real estate that I was like blending, I might use the toothbrush back and forth, up, down a little bit, but for these guys, they're so small that I just go around and around to kind of fill them in a little bit, kind of use the Tiki Mule a little bit too to brighten up that Royal Icing just a smidge. A corgi butt, so cute. All right, almost done, and we'll be done blending on this part. What I might do, being I've got everything out here and my brushes and colors handy, so while I'm at it, before we go and cut this and get everything out of the way, I'm going to show you the background that I also created with our foilets. So the Tall Tales alphabet that I'm going to use for my sentiment, we have drop shadows both in mini slim and in A2, and I'm going to use this one, the drop shadow sentiments, and I think any of these would work well. I just chose Happy because I wanted to use the cute little birthday hats on these dogs, so this Happy is what I'm going to use out of here, but I am not even going to foil that. You could put whatever you wanted to on it. I just went ahead and enjoyed the black drop shadow. I thought that was fine. Completely up to you, but they coordinate with our Tall Tales Alpha. And then I'm going to use our rotating stencils. Today I'm going to use the rotating sprinkles, which is, that's what I'm going to use. But I also think if you have Superstar at home, or if you were doing something other than the birthday, we have a heart one that rotates. Both very cute, very nice to do with this project. So I'm going to set this aside just for a minute because I have all my blending stuff at my hands right now. Clean this up first a little bit. We will blend that. So I am going to do the same with putting a little bit of tape runner on the back of here. Have any of you guys ever used any of our rotating stencils? Sorry, I'm making sure I didn't miss something. All right, we'll grab our rotating stencils. As always, still, like, this one's got markings, and I'll just go ahead and put this in the middle, and I can use the 6x6 of our glass board and just keep rotating it. I think if you're a person that rotates whatever direction you choose, I happen to go counterclockwise, which doesn't make any sense. Why I don't go clockwise, I don't know, but it works for me. I'm gonna, you know what? Like I said a little bit ago, make sure you don't have any residue from another project. I can see just a little bit of pink still on the stencil, so I'm gonna clean it just a little bit better because I want my blues to be blue and not purple, right? That really clean. There we go. Sometimes I feel like you can just leave a little hue behind. I'm sure our microfiber cloths could use a little bit of a bath, you know. So we'll put this back down. Try this again. And like I said, I'm a person that happens to, with my stencils, to go counterclockwise, whichever. Just keep going in the same direction. And I'm mainly going to use my blues on this. Heavier handed, light handed. Technically with the rotating stencils, you rotate it all 4 times. I say check. If you, especially with the hearts and the stars, if it gets overwhelming and you just want to do a couple, do that. Whatever peak, whatever works for you. But I'm at least going to get some Tiki Mule and some royal icing and a little bit of Tiki Mule in. And when I rotate, I am going to I'm going to start with my lightest blue and just work up to the darker blue so I don't have to clean in between. Maybe I'm a lazy stamper. Maybe that's what this is coming down to. But if I don't clean, because I'm staying in the blues, I won't have to if I just keep going darker and I'm staying in the same family of blues, which I totally am. So I'm going to go really light-handed with my Tiki Mule, really light-handed with my royal icing. We will rotate it. I'm going to avoid the center because I don't want a bunch of confetti there through the middle. I just wanted more of a clean look around my letters. If you want all the way down into those letters, you could. I just chose not to, just because it is kind of busy with the polka dots on my Happy and the dogs and all their toys. It just I think gives some peace in the middle, a little bit of your eye to kind of pause so you don't have so much going on. So this is where you rotate it just one corner worth, and that gets me the next one. So I started with this is where I started with my etching down in the bottom right corner. So I will rotate it 1, and I will use a little bit heavier hand. And this one is more forgiving. as far as like making sure it's lined up perfectly, it's much more forgiving than other stencils might be. The rotating ones are just do your blending. Don't have to worry too much about it being perfect. It's very just organic, all of them. The star, the heart, superstar, I think it's called. Now I'm just going to go a little bit darker handed with my royal icing this time. And the reason why I went just that way, I don't have to get too dark. I don't have to clean my stencil. Let me peek here, see what I think. Let me get this one right in here. Let me peek. I like that I can see the difference between the one layer I did and the second one. We'll rotate one more time. I'll see if I like it. If I think I need the fourth rotation, I'll do it. If not, I can skip it. Really is kind of up to you. Oh yes, Rachel, pull this one out. I love I kind of forget about it, but it's just so, I love getting 4 colors. If you wanted to do like rainbow, you just need to make sure you clean it in between each one. This one I was sticking with my blues, my Tiki Mule and my royal icing blues. You could go one darker and go up to Sour Gummy, which is this color that I've added. I just chose to kind of keep the background a little more subdued and skipped that. Just want to get like 1 or 2 here in the middle a little bit. I'm gonna peek, see what I think. I might put another tape here just in case I want to put it back down. See if I want that any darker. If I create that hinge, I can peek without being, I think I like it. I am going to rotate it one more time. I have a kind of a bare spot right here. I'll show you that I might go that 4th time just up here in this corner. I'll show you. My original card, I only rotated it 3 times. Completely up to you. Do you see this spot here? I'm going to see if I can get these 2 spots right here. I don't want any more over here, so I'll rotate it one more time, which being as I started with my etching here, I should have it here, which is exactly where it's landing. I'm going to even adjust it because I'm going to play with this just a little bit because I'm going to bump it up because I want some confetti right here. So I'm going to cheat a little bit. Put that confetti, that sprinkles right where I want it. And just kind of using the tip of my brush just so I only get that sprinkle that I want. Look at me living on the edge, not taping it down. I just wanted that one. There we go. And that is 3 rotations. Like I said, you could do the 4th if that's what you chose to do. But now would be when you finally have to clean your stencil. But if you just keep going darker and darker, you don't have to clean it in between. All right, that gets us our happy. Like I said, if you wanted the drop shadow to be foiled, feel free to do that. But also, if you're not into the foiling, know that you can use those drop shadows just as is. I think the black is perfectly beautiful, just the way it is. All right, now I'm going to do some die cutting. A couple of things that I want to do is I chose to have this happy kind of situated a little bit down from where it is so that I could get my dogs. Do you see that? So I'm going to use my die to kind of get it exactly where I want it. So we'll grab my, where did I put them? There they are. My favorite thing, never goes away off of my desk, is the A2 layering stacklets. Oh, thank you. It was called Sprinkles Rotating Stencil. Let me pull it back in. Sprinkles. If you just put sprinkles online, I think it's the first thing that comes up. So, oh, I see that someone just added it. Awesome. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. Yes. So I'm going to grab the A2 layer stack. I think it's the 3rd smallest that I chose to use. And is that what nope, the 4th smallest. Let me rephrase that. I used the 4th smallest. You could use whichever one you wanted. I just kind of wanted to be able to cut off. You could cut off as much as you wanted if you wanted the happy even higher, but I chose to cut it kind of off, some of the top to come off. And then I have the floor, as I'm calling it, with our wood grain paper. So that will be next. Let me grab my tape. Get this centered. I'm basically centering it left to right, a little more left than right, but completely up to you, however you want yours to lay out, and then straight to the bottom. Again, that was my 4th largest on the A2 stencils. Let me make sure this is straight across the bottom. Yep, sure is. That's great. Grab some more tape. Oh, my tape is not cooperating. Grab some of my tape quick. I want to line up the dogs on our cutting plate next. So we'll grab our dogs back in here and our coordinating cutting plate. I was actually thinking the cutting plate had those lines on it. That was one of the reasons why I really wanted to go to the 6x6, but this just lines up. So if you can do it and you can eyeball it from your A2 panel, that is an option, but it did make it easier to have all those squares there for me. So let's bring in my die cut machine and we can take care of both of these things. We'll have tons of little dogs. I almost wonder if you couldn't get 2 cards if you lined up your dogs. That would be great. I think it'd be really cute to have dogs and cats on the same card. Wouldn't that be cute? I know so many people that have both in their house. So set that aside. There's our dogs. Grab our happy panel. Now, I went ahead before... Sorry, Whitney, I'm going to ask you a question.
Yes.
What is the name of the accessory set that's in there?
Little Bits Pet Accessory.
Little Bits Pet Accessory. I took those and I die cut them ahead of time, just so you guys didn't have to watch me die cut and glue all the little pieces. But can you see them all in there? I die cut them out of Royal Icing, Tiki Mule, and Sour Gummy, which I didn't use any sour gummy ink because it's kind of strong. You totally could if you wanted to, but I just wanted a little more pop of color than the 2 blues, Tiki Mule and Royal Icing, were giving me. But I took that accessory set and cut that all out ahead of time so you guys didn't have to watch me die cut and poke all the pieces out, right? Does anyone else do this? My tape is all lined up down the side of here. I wonder if people at the office are probably like, what is all this tape? That's me. If you ever find tape on the side of the glass board, I've been there. That's how I save my tape. That's what I do at home too. Used to be on top of my machine. Now I tend to put it over there. It just seems like a good place for it. So now I took some of our TE wood grain cardstock. We sell it in white, and I believe it's called Toffee or Craft. Can't remember which one. And I have a piece that's just a smidge over 3/4. It really kind of depends on how you shift your happy, how far up or down that you have it, and how much room you want underneath the happy. I might take a smidge more off of my little piece here because I must have scooched my happy just down a little more this time. So I'm going to do more of like 3/4. I want a little more space there. Cut off just a hair. There we go. And I thought it was nice just to make it look like ground a little bit. I did do a little ink blending with that latte, even though this is more of a toffee cardstock. I just used the latte ink and a blender brush that I already was using earlier, just to give it that dimension. That always helps a die cut or a strip look like something less flat. And with that wood grain in the cardstock, it really picks up nicely. Oh, I used cinnamon, but cinnamon or latte, either one. If you use cinnamon, use a light hand. That's kind of my jam though. I kind of am really light-handed when it comes to stamping. And we'll put some glue to glue this down to have our floor, as I was envisioning. I wanted somewhere for our doggies to sit. Let's see if I've got this straight on the bottom. Straight across here. I could use my awesome pair of awesome press rulers. I love them, the A2 and the one for 5x7s. I think it's called A7. I love them. I use them at home all the time too. Oh, I saw my name, so I was like paying attention. Yeah. Am I missing anything? Oh, you put all the tape on the side of your board too, Susan. I don't know. Then I always know where it is. I will say sometimes, you know, when you go downstairs, or I'll look down at my shirt and I've got purple tape or teal tape on my shirt as I walk down into other spots of the house. So that's the only downside of kind of taping it over there. So here's all my little doggies. These are the ones I'm not using them because they didn't fit, because I needed people on the ground. Aren't they cute? They look so happy. So I think they would be really cute inside with a sentiment. So we'll pop out all of our dogs here. And now the HAPPY is, like I said, is from our Tall Tales alphabet die set. And I used a stamp set that was sold with that kit back when we released it, but we use it for all kinds of things around here, called Bold Border Background Blocks. And I used this polka dot through the middle. That's there. And I always like to take mine and set it up in my MISTI. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm using Tiki Mule for this because I use Tiki Mule to cut out all my letters. Get that out of the way for a second. And I have either, if you had a plain piece of paper, whatever you have, I'm going to take the polka dot and I'm going to go ahead and stamp it. This is the way I choose to do it. You could go the other way by stamping your Tiki Mule cardstock with the polka dots and then laying your dies on that stamped piece of Tiki Mule with the polka dots and die cut out your letters. You could do it that way, absolutely. This is just the way I choose to do it, mainly because I really need control over how straight my polka dots are on my letters. So then I take a piece, my other favorite thing is some of the repositionable easy dots, and I just put a runner of them down on my MISTI grid paper or whatever you have, whatever you're using. And then I can line them all up and make sure each letter is landing on the polka dots the way I want. Is that really picky? It's control for me this way. So I can see that my line of my letters are going straight up these polka dots. I can see that everything's in place, and being that tape runner is there, it sticks, holds it in place so that I can come along, make sure all my letters are landing where I want them to. But again, you could stamp on your cardstock first, and that would be great also. I don't know if one way saves maybe cardstock more. I don't know. This is how I do it with any die cut that I have that I want a pattern on. And obviously I can't really talk and line things up at the same time. Last letter. With the die, I suppose I'd pick a spot on the polka dots to line the bottom of my die up to. That would work too. But that, again, this is Tiki Mule cardstock that I cut these out of. I will use Tiki Mule ink over the top. I think you probably save cardstock, but I don't know. These letters are so skinny, I'm not sure it would really make a huge difference anyway. And I do double check because sometimes with where the rubber is hitting and the edge of the stamped panel, or where that's coming in contact with the cardstock, sometimes you need to restamp it one more time. So use my Just Press tool and then do some checking before I pick anything up. Sometimes it's, yep, that looks great. Might just grab right there. Now we'll take our pokey tool and pick up our letters. Those will go on our panel. I thought about that. Someone said I should put the dog like it's jumping over the words. We totally could. Totally could. That would be adorable. Someone says they find their tape on their blanket all the time. Mine is my robe. I don't know about you guys. That's probably a weird. I have this robe that's so fuzzy and soft, and it's like wearing a blanket around the house. I just love it, and I find tape on it quite often. So it's a big, fluffy, like, I don't know, fleecy robe, and my husband knows I'm in for the night when he sees I've put that on. Like, we're not going anywhere tonight. Susan is cuddled in. So with your letters, though, make extra sure, being as I line them up to the bottom, that you pay attention to where those polka dots land. If you went through the trouble, especially the H is the main one that I have to pay attention to, but I know my polka dots landed concentrated at the bottom and not so much at the top. So just pay attention to that when you go. The H is probably the only one that it will matter, but we'll put, oh, I didn't put that in the right spot. Let's fix that. I knew that looked weird. Let's move my H over. Bring H to the party. And then you could put your glue here or on the back of the letters, whatever, whichever works for you. Might do both of these while I'm holding the other two down. Isn't this fun how it just falls into the drop shadow right there? And if you're one that likes mini slim, there are different words in the mini slim compared to the A2. Let me flip them over so you can see them while I'm gluing. So you get different things. I like that for the mini slim we were able to use words that are a little bit longer. So, and Y, the last letter. It's kind of nice because I know I didn't switch any letters around. You know how you get so concentrated on making the letters centered and stuff like that, then you got to pay attention to your spelling. Don't have to here. It's already done for me. All right, hold that in place for a second. Then we will move on to our little dogs. So cute. I might just go ahead because I've got my glue right here. Go ahead and put a little bit on the back of here. Get our palette. This is again where I brought the sour gummy in just to add just a little more color to everything, because my dogs and it's all kind of mid-tone. So I wanted something that was kind of a little bit darker, more intense in color, just to bring in a little more something to the card, a little bit different dimension in color. That's why even though I didn't use the sour gummy ink, I brought it in as another add-on color. So there we go. Hold that down. I don't have magnets today, so I'll just use my hands. And I'm going to cheat too. I'm going to bring this in to kind of follow. I really like my layout. I did this, if you guys got the tutorial for in the kit when you guys get it, I just think this dog, they look like they should be sitting on each other. No one said that. And maybe you disagree, but I just think they look funny sitting on top of each other. Let me grab some of our tape. I don't need much, just a little bit. This is our 1/32 that you guys know is my favorite thing, just to keep things popped up without adding too much dimension to my card or making it too thick for mailing. And I just barely want this little dog to look like he's sitting on top of him. And I just used a little bit of that foam tape to kind of help me out to hold them together. Oh, yes, I want to know the answer to that question too, Beth. What does your cat do? Does it mean to steal the tape, or is it just get stuck on the cat and walks off with it? I'd be curious too. Because I thought cats didn't like things sticking to their paws. I thought I heard that somewhere. So, inquiring minds want to know. I can see how a cat would come and lay or brush by you and pick it up, though. That would be kind of funny. I had to vacuum the stairs up to my office the other day because all this little backer tape, I swear it gets on the bottom of my shoes, and then I track it through the house too. Yeah. Beth says she finds it everywhere. I don't know. Back in the day when we had all the little foam, I don't remember what company it was, but they had foam and it was more like just little squares when it first came out before we got our awesome rolls of tape. It was so much that those little backers were everywhere in my house. So, and I want this little dog to also have a hat. So in the accessories set, there is not only the little party hat. We did cut this one off. Little dies like this, sometimes I just leave them all together. I know sometimes you don't need all that. I'll cut a piece of paper to fit, but I always feel like I don't lose things that way. But the little hat and then the little pom-pom, so you can have it be a different color that goes on top of the party hat, are together on a die. Isn't that cute in there? So that's what I used a lot of. And then this dish, this is the food to go in the dish, if that makes sense to everyone. And I did, on this card, I didn't realize it, so there is no food. The dogs are hungry, but I did put food in the dish for this one. And I used cinnamon for that. So let's put a party hat on top of this little guy. Again, Tiki Mule, Royal Icing, and Sour Gummy are some of the colors that I used. And I just chose to cut just little pieces of foam tape just to put behind them to hold them in place. I don't want too much on top of his head. My little fussy foam tape. I didn't pop them all up, just the little dachshunds not popped up, but it just gave some dimension to bring it out from the card. Again, same way with my ink blending, just to add that dimension to make things look like they're not so flat. So there's that guy. Then this guy, I just think he looks very, okay, you guys help me out. This is a certain type of dog. So cute. But I think he looks very distinguished. So I thought he needed a bow. So we'll add a little bow there for him. I have in my little trinket tray here, my star. I have a bow for him out of Sour Gummy. Isn't that just cute? I don't know. Gosh. This kid's going to make me want an actual dog. That could be bad. See what my husband thinks of that. My husband really likes to travel, and I think it would break my heart to have to leave then, so might be bad. Okay, we'll save these. Put my little distinguished doggy. Yes, he looks distinguished. That's why I thought he needed a bow. I really like him in blue too. That one I kind of wanted underneath this happy, and you can kind of still, it kind of really depends on where you end up with your happy laying. I want to see enough of it, but I don't need to see every little part of my happy. Just enough to, you can read it, and then add my little accessories down. So there's the dog dish, and like I said, I did use a little cinnamon cardstock. You barely need a half an inch square for that. And then I thought a little dog bone sounded like a good idea here. I love all the accessories. So there's some in there for cats and some in there for dogs. And then there's cute little paw prints that work for both. Let's grab our little dachshund dude. I have these little pieces of tape and I don't want to put them down because I know I'm going to use them. So let's just go ahead and use them. I'm going to put my party hat that I have on top of my happy down next. Again, I already put the little pom-poms on the top. Is that what you call them? The little, I don't know, the tops to the party hat. I already put those down and glued them ahead of time so you didn't have to watch me do that. But I thought it'd be cute to hang a little party hat off the side of my P up here. Then we need our bigger dog. I think I'd rather place him just so I know where this guy's gonna land. I might grab my hat for this one while I'm at it. I'm just following my same color combos. There's so many things you could do with these as far as color combinations. I know I kind of went a little more traditional of what I know pets aren't blue, but the yellow and the brown. I think you could have a lot of fun with color with these guys. Let's kind of change them up. Make them rainbow. No one did that. I'm surprised. You always seem to rainbow everything around here. We did not rainbow our pets. Oh wait, Taylor did. On the live on Tuesday. Is that what you're all saying? Taylor did it. She had rainbow. Can't remember if it was cats or dogs now. All right, one more piece of tape. Hopefully you cannot see my big mess I've created over here. Every time. Put this guy down. I might actually want this guy down because they might overlap a smidge. Yeah, all right. This guy just gets glued down. My little, they're called dachshunds, right? Long-haired dachshunds, yeah. My husband's grandma, she's my grandma too, but she had dachshunds the whole time she was alive, and she had regular dachshunds and she had long-haired dachshunds. Oh my gosh. And they would go sit up on her shoulder. I will never ever forget that. She'd sit on the couch and she would tap her lap like with her hands, and they would come and she'd put them up. They wanted to sit up on her shoulders. I don't know if they felt dominant or what the deal was, but they would always go sit up across the back of her neck, across her shoulders. And they fit there perfectly because they're such a long, skinny dog. It was always so cute. So lastly, we need the birthday. And I just want to show you, you have two options on this. We have two sets of building blocks here at TE, the building blocks milestones, which this one has 2 birthdays in it. If you don't have this one, so the happy goes with this birthday. There's also, just look, there's lots of things. We have a couple of, I mean, you could cut it off of another sentiment or whatever. This one also has birthday in it here. This one's called Building Blocks Happy Editions. So it's meant to go with happy. You could use either one, whichever one you have. These both have the word birthday in them. So, and then of course the building blocks die. So I did that ahead of time, stamped it with VersaFine, and then clear embossed it just so that I could have that crisp, shiny look. I'm going to glue this down flat. Isn't that what I did? Yeah, I glued it down flat. Across right here. Did you see earlier I let it set for a little bit without my pin in it? Oh, there we go. Put my pin back in my Barely Arts glue. It's also getting very low. I'll be on to another bottle soon. I should have brought my Pear Blossom ruler with me today. I usually always bring it. That would ensure my happiest street. Or my birthday, sorry. My birthday. Then we need to put this on another card panel. So you have something to open. And there's your happy bunch of dogs. Like I said, cats would be super adorable too. There's tons of sentiments in there you could, and a mini slim would be really cute too. You could probably fit more dogs on it that way, because look at all I have left over. I could easily make another card. So I could get 2 out of my work. Who doesn't love that? Glue that down. I just did it, talking about admitting my mistakes. Yesterday is the first time in a long time, maybe a few years, I put on a card panel and it was going the wrong way. I had it going the fold at the bottom. Yeah, so I just cut the top off and put it on a new panel, but yeah. So there's my happy birthday. Their dogs are having a party. And then look at all these that I have left over for you guys to make another card with. I love it. Set this here so you guys can see my card, and then I will grab my tea I'm going to spill. Are we ready? I'm super excited about this one. We have a lot of really cool releases coming up, but this one I especially love because it makes, well, it makes a lot of things that we already have even better, more useful, or brings a different twist to them. So let me grab this. And I will say this birthday card happens to be the card that I screwed up and have to put it on a new panel. Are you ready? Oh, so good, right? You guys, I can't wait for you guys to see Taylor and Whitney on Saturday. And then make sure you join Taylor on Tuesday. One last reminder that today is the last day for your Rainbow Royalty and Super Fans to get your double points on your purchases. And if you're looking for more inspiration, remember that Thierry has a video that also went up today on our YouTube channel. So I hope you have a great day, and thanks for joining.